Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Seaweed Brain, a Percy Jackson podcast. Today, we are going to be diving back into the Wrath of the Triple Goddess. We are going to head downtown. Are we going to meet some pets? No, we're not going to meet some pets. We are going to meet some pets. How many chapters are we planning on doing today? Two. We're planning on doing chapters 3 and 4 of the Wrath of the Triple Goddess today. And a lot happens. Mostly people are really mean to Percy, and we're very excited. So stick around.
Welcome back to the podcast. Sophia Raines. How are you, Sophia?
I'm doing alrighty. It's fall. The leaves are changing colors. There's pumpkin spice in the air.
And in our hearts.
And in our hearts, especially. The journey was all about the pumpkin spice we met along the way.
The pumpkin spice was really... Wait. The friendship was really
the real
pumpkin spice. The real pumpkin spice was the friends we made along the way. There it is.
That's what it is.
We were saying last week that this book is like a little bit less spooky, necessarily like Nightmare Before Christmas spooky, and a little bit more The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, Jazz Trio, Fall.
I think that Percy is the Charlie Brown because everything seems to be going wrong and he's just questioning his life choices.
I feel like Grover is truly Charlie Brown.
That's
in this
true.
book.
Good grief.
I've been having a very Charlie Brown fall as well.
Oh, good. Do you also bring your blanket to the park?
That's Linus. That's not Charlie Brown. That's Linus.
Well, yeah, I know it's Linus. Charlie Brown, the property. The
Peanuts.
IP
If we want to talk about the comic strips, it's Peanuts.
That's so true. If I meant Peanuts, I would have said Peanuts. But I meant Charlie Brown.
You're having specifically a Charlie Brown autumn. You are wearing that one collared shirt with the black zigzag in the middle.
Some mean brunette girl keeps stealing my football. Metaphorically. Anyway. So Sophia, this book just came out yesterday from when we're recording. How did you get your copy?
Well, I would love to answer this question. I got my copy on Hoopla. I will always sing the praises, Hoopla, of this app, library app.
Do you want to spell Hoopla for the listeners?
Yes, Hoopla, Hoopla. It's through the library.
Sounds like a lot of
Hoopla. And again, I wish to be a brand ambassador because I always put my friends onto it. And literally I got because I know some people, Libby, had the waiting lines. I got it immediately. They have the audiobook. They have the ebook. They basically, I think, the whole Percy Jackson series on there in general, which is how I read Chalice of the Gods. I sped read it on Hoopla. And I was like, let me get straight on this. And they also have movies and TV shows. So you guys should get Hoopla.
Available through your public library.
Yeah, public library.
Probably.
Please.
Unpaid ad for Hoopla.
But I would also like to be paid for this as well. Hoopla, if you're listening.
Can you be a brand ambassador for the public library system? Because if so,
Hoopla
sign me up.
is a private company that's contracting with the public library system. So they might need brand ambassadors to get them into more library systems.
And I would love to do that. I'm like, where do I apply?
I will literally contact
Madam Hoopla.
Madam Hoopla.
Madam Hoopla.
Sophia, you can be Madam Hoopla.
Oh my gosh, new costume idea. I'm Madam Hoopla for Halloween.
Okay, that out of the way. Where did we last leave off? In chapter 2, we had just spoken with Sally at the Cracked Teapot, which is definitely the chipped cup in Hamilton Heights as far as anyone is concerned. And we have Percy and Grover needing to head down to Gramercy to get started on their house sitting for Hecate. But first, obviously, we need to pick up Annabeth. So we're going to SOD NYC, the School of Design. And we're going to meet some of her judgy friends. Are we excited?
I think this is the part of the chapter that was released online ahead of time. And
yeah.
I remember seeing all the fan art, especially with like the Leobeth aged up, and I was just like living for it.
With the Berkeley sweatshirt, the distressed jeans, and the brand new Doc Martens.
Loved it for my girl. I think what I liked so much about it is that I think for considering like the original series and Heroes of Olympus, from the vague memories I have of that, we don't really get to see Annabeth in daily life. Even in Chalice and the Gods, it was kind of very brief. Like we knew she was in school in New York, but we didn't get to see her really outside of Percy's adventure.
Mm-hmm.
So I get to see her like actually in her regular non-demigod type clothing is really fun. See, in her school environment, like her element.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. She gets to hang out with kids who understand her and can match her and are also not her siblings, which is
Exactly.
probably unique for her.
Yeah. I would like to dive right into this description of Annabeth that Percy gives, outside of just her physical outfit, which is slaying. This starts on page 21. I'm not sure if you've ever had this experience. When you see someone you know from a distance and for a split second you don't recognize them. Your brain just registers, oh, that person looks amazing. Then you realize it's someone you've known for years, your girlfriend in fact, and that sends a tingle of happiness through your whole body. Sure, maybe I had a twinge of angst too, because she was sitting there laughing with other people, and for the moment I was on the outside. I wouldn't call it jealousy though, more like anxious motivation. Annabeth was a natural people person. Everybody wanted to hang out with her and get her approval. She would always succeed whether I was around or not. That made me even more determined to graduate and get into college with her, even if it meant doing torturous activities like studying or reading. Wow, the power she had over the way I thought. Kind of scary. Okay, first of all, cute, right? Adorable. Yay, Persebeth. Yay. Yay. Tingles of happiness. Did anyone else clock Annabeth was a natural people person and go, is she?
Is she?
That's what I thought. No,
Is she?
literally, that was initially like my reaction. I was like, I think especially when we see like, maybe this is because we also just saw the TV adaptation of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think, this is actually something I was gonna do another upcoming Substack on. I was like, Annabeth socially something I think is so interesting because she's never really been in a school environment or normal school environment for much of her life, and she's been in Camp Half-Blood, which isn't really like a summer camp. This is like a training ground for like soldiers, and she's always been like the head of camp, always been the Annabeth Chase, like General Chase. But basically, like,
I'm just picturing Leah in that helmet that's too big for her.
Exactly, literally. That's what I
Wait,
see.
it's also Leah's birthday today when we're recording.
Oh
Happy
my
birthday,
gosh.
Leah Savay Jeffries. You are a natural people person.
She really is. Radiant, truly. So I think that's so interesting to see that maybe something happens in the next, like 5 or so years. I don't think she's technically a natural people person, or maybe this is just Percy's perception of her. And I mean that her own like perception of herself.
I was thinking two things, that she definitely wasn't a natural people person when she was 12, but she might be now, especially after her experience actually getting to spend time with like Piper and Hazel and develop bonds with girls her own age. I think that was probably a big moment for her.
One girl her own age.
Maybe even like now that Thalia is alive, that's also maybe even healed some of her attachment issues.
Right? Her attachment issue because she was abandoned by Talia unintentionally and was afraid to get close to anyone else. And then Luke died. So now that that's all sorted.
He sacrificed himself. That's a little different.
Yeah, she can form meaningful friendships more easily with people.
This is also the first time we've ever seen her in this kind of social situation. Like, I don't
exactly.
know. I feel like it is a generous read of an environment that is very well tailored to her being able to socialize.
I also wonder how much of our perception of Annabeth not being a people person when she was 12 just comes from Percy's perspective of her.
I genuinely think that's part of it as well. But I wouldn't also being psychologically, I mean, considering again, like ADHD, especially in girls, tend to always have trouble with friendships as well. So it wouldn't be surprising. But again, she could develop. She's now like 17, 18.
Yeah. I think it's a little bit of all of these things combined.
Yeah. I really wish we had more time to see her. I think especially in Childs of the Gods to really develop more of this, her relationship with like socially outside of Camp Half-Blood in the demigod world.
Yeah. The principle that is true 100% is she would always succeed whether I was around or not.
100%. Percy's not the key factor in her success.
I feel like Annabeth, she'd be able to find her pocket of people wherever she goes.
She's a true leader in that sense.
Yeah. All right. Now we get the appearance of Dave and Hannah.
I think for me, whenever I see like one of my amazing, beautiful friends and I see the other half that's less amazing, I'm like, oh.
Very much that. Oh.
Oh.
Hey, I said. Dave made room for me on the couch. Sup, Percy? Hannah gave me a forced smile. I don't think she liked me very much. Maybe because she wasn't sure I was good enough for Annabeth, which, hey, fair concern. But I always tried to be nice to her.
Him being like fair concern is hilarious.
Oh yeah, the "Hey, fair concern" line. We can hear that in his internal monologue, so we know Percy is good for Annabeth because he can clock himself, he can humble himself, you know. But Hannah doesn't know that. So 3 cheers for Hannah being suspicious. That's a good friend.
I think that's really truly good friend because I feel like any friend that just takes any random guy off the street, I'm like, no, there's got to be some background checks.
Yeah, and she's still being nice, you know.
She's being polite, you know.
Yeah,
she's forcing a smile.
Polite. I think polite's a good word.
Yeah, she's not being rude to him, but she is also she's emphasizing. I don't know if she's emphasizing. It's very clear in the way that she's communicating that she has no interest in having a conversation with him, which I also respect because what would she talk about with him? Nothing. Definitely not the Escher-esque staircases that she wants to put into the mat. You know, that's not.
Oh God, I have seen this look on Carter's face so many times. It is like permanently seared into my mind. It will be the last thing I see in my mind when I pass into the next life. Will be the forced smile of politeness on Carter's face.
Dave and Hannah, incidentally, are the names of my aunt and uncle. I don't think that's doxing them or anything. Many such cases, but
do you think Hannah is Hapa?
I think that Hannah has
she's in the Bay Area.
1 to 2 parents.
No, she's not. This is New York.
This is New York. I think Hannah has 1 or 2 parents who are either Japanese or Korean.
I would have to agree.
Yeah, but not that much more information provided here.
Anyway, they're talking about redesigning the Met. This is part of their assignment. Dave wants to do postmodern. Hannah wants to do avant-garde. Likely story for Hannah. And Annabeth...
Not Hannah getting a backhand on the podcast.
No, I think Hannah is real for that. I think she should
She
design
is real
the Met.
for that. Yeah.
I think, well, first of all, I think Dave is giving right because he says postmodern, just take out everything. I'm like, it's giving like...
I also automatically assumed Dave was white.
Drill down a little bit harder into what postmodern is, I think. Like, no columns is not necessary but not sufficient, I feel, for what you're trying to accomplish.
I know, and I just think it's being basic. It's giving C effort, in my opinion, his design. Personally.
I'm going to Google right now what an Escher-esque staircase is.
I mean, I don't know what that means in real life, because Escher was like an artist, where the staircases kind of all connect to each other and go to nowhere and play with perceptual illusions, you know, like a staircase will curve 3 different ways and suddenly somebody is upside down type of situation. What does that look like in physical design is, I think, a little ambiguous.
Doesn't it mean like the egg at Hudson Yards?
Those aren't Escher-esque. Those are just stairs, I think. I guess it means the stairs from when you look from the bottom are still stairs.
I'm just wondering about the practicality, and they're going to be accessible for people who don't know Escher and like navigating that. Because I can imagine a lot of normal civilians being like, how do I access the stairs? They look like they're going upside down.
Yeah.
Which, of course, Annabeth's concern is accessibility, enjoyment, maximizing the effect of the stores of art that the Met has that are just kind of sitting somewhere and nobody gets to enjoy them.
I always get angry about that. I'm like, this artist is sitting in basements collecting dust.
Do you want to read her description, Sophia?
Sure, yes. So you know how the Met has thousands of pieces of art just sitting in warehouses? My plan is to triple the display space. We do the whole building as a giant spiral of glass floors and walls around a central atrium. The art would be protected inside the glass, and those see-through panels would let you examine the art from the back, the front, above, below. You'd feel like you were floating in a 3-dimensional cloud of art.
And the marshmallows, I asked, because I tend to focus on things that are tasty.
Big, soft, white beanbag chairs. All through the museum. No more uncomfortable benches. When kids come in, they can flop anywhere they want and relax and enjoy the art.
Or take a nap.
That's valid too. It's a public space. Why not take a nap with a statue of Athena or Frida Kahlo's self-portrait?
Comfy marshmallows in a glass temple. Okay, I'm sold.
I love that. I think that's such an interesting idea. And also she's making it accessible for people like Percy who just want to take a nap. Creating a space that people can coexist comfortably with art.
This reminded me a lot of our friend from high school, Isabel, and something that she probably would have spent an afternoon sketching out at age 17, specifically about the Met and probably with the beanbag chairs. It makes a lot of sense. I do feel like implicit in this is an idea that the Met should be free, which it is not. The Met is quite expensive if you're not from New York, and would not be a good place to take a nap if you're not from New York. But I guess that's potentially beside the point.
No, I think it is the point.
Yeah, the accessible and I think comfortable space. So I kind of agree that sometimes art museums, I think my issue with them is that they feel so distant and cold, which is why I really reject Dave's like postmodern idea. Because I think the columns I really enjoy because they're very like. I'm sorry, I'm gonna always rail on Dave for this. I was like, that's just dumb.
Dave is catching strays.
I don't think postmodern is wrong. Conceptually, like there's a way of doing postmodern that is accessible, but all he said was take out the columns, and we're gonna need some more words.
We need further information about Dave's plan.
Exactly.
I do think this little scene where all three of them share their ideas for the Met does so much work to characterize Annabeth and just remind us who Annabeth is and the way that her brain works and the things that she finds important, like accessibility, but also that the way that she thinks and her brand of intelligence and cleverness is thinking outside of the box and so many steps ahead of everybody else, much like our friend Isabel from high school, who I think has come up on this podcast many times because we all think that she's the smartest person ever. And certain people's brains work in special ways, and that's Annabeth. You know, she's not just smart because she's good at math or anything like that. She's creative, child of Athena.
Exactly. I mean, you were saying glass and marshmallows is interesting because you have this like pristine of glass, the see-through, the transparency, but also the softness of marshmallows. And that's not something you would really put together. Someone else might not like associate or combine those two concepts.
Yeah, couldn't one call the comfy marshmallows in a glass temple really an allegory for Annabeth's soul and personality?
One could.
One could.
But should one?
Remove the columns.
Oh my gosh. I think we saw like in Chance of the Gods, Percy in the swim team, but it's also good to see Annabeth again just have a normal school moment. It's so special to see that.
It is special. I enjoy that she's not reaching for a reference. Not to keep having everyone else catch strays, but you know, some people there's a certain age where you think that
you said Dave is reaching for reference
is proving that you read a book and that you are familiar with an idea that somebody else had. You know,
what's that quote from Dance Moms? It was like boring, lazy,
tired, sloppy. Yes.
I dare you to say that to Dave's face.
I would. Bring him on here.
No, I literally know you would, Sophia, because I've been in college classes with you.
Yeah, you see, I would. I will do it.
Hannah's my sister. Hannah, I would have a conversation with and be like, "Oh, Escher, that's interesting. Like, where are we going from here? Like, what is like the Hannah take on Escher? Like, I want to know more." Dave, I'm a little bit like, "Come on, like you need to come out the gate with something." You know?
Exactly. Well, she's giving me something to think about. So, oh, I'm curious where this goes. Dave's be like, take out the columns. I'm like, okay.
But I think for both of them, it's like it's not at the same level, where I believe that this is something that they would say and they would think about it a lot and this would be eatery for them. But then they would hear somebody else actually have an idea that is, you know, like not afraid to reference or not reference, but also is genuinely not just regurgitating or reproducing a school of thought that already exists and a body of work that already exists.
Like, I think what their designs are interesting because they're all about the aesthetic, but she's talking about the practicality and considering other people.
Yes.
Annabeth is thinking, again, three-dimensionally, further, 3 steps ahead. How will other people experience this?
Mm-hmm. The other thing that I enjoy about this as a reminder of who Annabeth is that she is silly and goofy and childlike and playful. Mm-hmm. And it's not just Percy or just Percy and Grover who are little goofballs. Annabeth is also a little goofball, and we must honor and respect that and remember that, especially when it comes to her dynamic with Percy.
She has whimsy.
She is whimsical.
But it is an intellectualized whimsy. It's a good illustration, I think, of where she is. The fact that she can flex on people with the strength of an idea and not have to sacrifice whimsy in order to signal.
Also because she's safe enough that she gets to be whimsical at this point in her life.
Yes.
We talked last week about Grover being in a place where things are mostly settled for him. So he can also be whimsical again instead of just purely anxious at the beginning of this book.
Yeah, let's also not skirt over the fact that Dave and Hannah, they're still on Percy's neck. They're not letting him breathe. They turn to him. What is your idea for the Met? That's kind of a
Oh my
gag.
gosh. Gag.
Oh my god. Because Percy needs to talk to Annabeth and get her away from her mortal friends, he's like, oh, I have an assignment I wasn't expecting. I wondered if you could help. And Hannah says, she can't do all your homework for you, dude.
Queen, step on his neck. Harder. Harder.
Hannah said that's a likely story. You needing homework help.
I mean, I'll give props to Dave because he tries to cover for Percy. He's just like, yeah, she has to do our homework. Dave saw Percy floundering and he had threw him a life raft.
But I also literally believe that for Dave. I believe that Dave is rank 3 in this friend group.
God, stop being so mean to Dave.
No, he is. He's definitely rank 3. He saw Percy. He saw himself.
Do you believe that Dave is contributing to the calculus homework on the same level as Hannah or Annabeth? How do I put this? I kind of don't see that.
I think that Dave gloms on to Annabeth the way one may glom on to Mariah Carey or Lady Gaga, say, if you know what I mean. Catching my drift.
I see. You're saying
okay.
that Dave is a friend of the family.
I think Dave is a friend of Elphaba.
Well, yes. Okay. Yeah. Anyway,
we need to put Dave and Hannah to bed.
That's the end of that conversation. I love Dave and Hannah, mostly Hannah. Hannah is a little sister to many. We'll look forward to your appearances in the future and continue to support you as a fan.
Yeah, this is why I need 3 more senior year adventure books from Annabeth's POV so we get more Hannah.
That's what I was just thinking about the other day. I was like, I need to see more of these characters.
I'm prepared at this point in life for a Hannah spin-off novel where
she just has like mortal witnessing. Maybe she can see through the mist.
I think she should see through the mist and become an acolyte of Hecate. So that's the pitch for the Hannah standalone novel.
Maybe Hannah is like Estelle's babysitter.
Whoa. Yeah, many possibilities for Hannah, early fan favorite.
She goes to NYU.
I could see anything from Hannah. I could see Hannah having a Brooklyn style, like literally just soft, quiet coming of age where she has many revelations. Do you know what I mean?
We need to move on. We're going to the Stuyvesant Park.
Stuyvesant, the name of the prime magnet school in New York, and also person who designed large parts of the bottom tip of Manhattan.
I think he was also the last Dutch governor of New Amsterdam.
Wait, no. He was like alive in the 1800s or 1900s or something. Maybe it's the same name, but a different person.
Peter Stuyvesant.
What? Was he not the architect? No, you're right.
Was he also an architect?
No. They just named these things after him. No, Percy's just confused. I think Percy is simply incorrect.
Yeah, Percy's confused.
So Peter Stuyvesant was alive in the 1600s. He was the Director General of the colony of New Netherland before it was ceded to the English in 1664.
Yeah, but that's you being right. Percy's wrong.
No, but also, this is from later on in the Wikipedia article, in an effort to remedy the neglect on the town of New York, Stuyvesant took measures to improve the appearance and safety of the town with numerous regulations to achieve this end that were routinely issued by his office. So building codes, including fences throughout the town, building housing structures to prevent the spread of fire, these kinds of things.
But he wasn't an architect then. He was an urban planner.
Yeah.
Or like a person who passed zoning ordinances.
He was also really interested in education.
I think Percy is simply incorrect about this. And that's okay.
Well, I feel like I'm trying to figure this out because I haven't finished the book yet, but this character comes back because in the book tour, there's like a whole Reed Riordan art of Peter Stuyvesant.
Peter Stuyvesant is a character in this book?
Yeah.
Yes. God bless. I'll look forward to that. But it really doesn't seem like he is an architect.
You know, the Google AI feature just told me, no, Peter Stuyvesant was not an architect.
Anyways.
There's a lot in New York that is named after him, including like the Gramercy area, quote unquote, is like Gramercy Park as well as Stuytown combined.
Stuyvesant, yeah.
Anyway, they're sitting near a churchyard where Peter Stuyvesant is buried.
Yes. Annabeth's favorite park bench. And we're basically catching her up. And Annabeth is pleased. She's actually not concerned about this quest.
Yeah, she's not concerned at all.
Because she actually is really excited. She wants to have a party.
Yeah.
And that's actually the most Sophia thing ever. Because I remember for my Sweet 16, I wanted to be murder mystery. Because I just seen Clue, the movie. And I was like, this is it. This is what I want to do.
Everybody go watch Clue, the movie.
Please. There actually is a couple haunted houses in my neighborhood. Because apparently there are a couple like mobsters who died or committed suicide, allegedly. Regardless, especially one off a major street that's kind of tucked in, and it looks all dilapidated. And I wanted to have my party there. I was like, guys, this would be the perfect place. It didn't, because my parents are like, you're having a party in a broken down house. But I get Annabeth thinking. I'm like, I'm with you.
Do you think Annabeth is also a fan of seminal classic animated Halloween film Monster House?
I think she is. Because, this whole thing is like Monster House. A house that's magic, might possibly be alive.
Yeah. Big book for people who are huge fans of seminal classic Halloween animated film Monster House. I really have to shout out this stunning quote that is about Annabeth, but also about Percabeth on page 25. This is while they're on the park bench. Annabeth listened with the kind of intensity most people only give to their favorite songs. Like she wanted to memorize every word, analyze the meaning of every line, and how it made her feel.
I love that.
Because do you think Annabeth listens to every person like that? I
No.
don't think that she does. And I think Hannah is deeply confused why she would listen to Percy that way, but I think it's beautiful.
I think it's especially important to Percy, because I feel like so much of his life, people have either just not listened to him or just taking him for granted. And for once, someone is actually validating his own form of intelligence, his thoughts, and I think it's so special for him, especially if someone as smart and as brilliant as Annabeth.
Yeah. This kind of line is something I think a lesser YA author would take and turn into a manic pixie dream girl-ification of a young woman,
Definitely.
Many such cases, yes.
Yeah, but we know Annabeth.
Yeah. Annabeth wants to throw a haunted house, but respectfully. I did have a moment as I was reading this where it was like, whoa, where are we going on this journey? Is this in character for Annabeth? Would she
throw a house party?
Would she throw a house party in a goddess's place, flaunting the goddess's rules? But I think the answer is yes, because she does have a plan for this, top to bottom. It makes sense. We're getting away with this.
Also, again, she hasn't really had a whole childhood, and I imagine she's so excited to do something that would be a normal kid thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, respectfully.
Respectfully, of course.
Yes.
And it's not about throwing a party. It's about, quote, creating a terrifying experience for all their friends.
Yeah. It's like an architectural, creative endeavor for her.
And there is so much to be said about people who have undergone horrible, terrifying things in their lives, turning to the horror genre for comfort, The idea of creating a haunted house for all of her friends is really special and exciting for her, because what could be scarier than falling into Tartarus,
We've already experienced the worst.
We've been in the House of Hades.
I'm actually really happy for her for this. And I think throwing a party is very much Annabeth, because that's type A party planning. She's going to go off on that.
So they're going to pick up some takeout from Annabeth's favorite restaurant nearby and head over to the house. Should we take a quick break and then do chapter 4?
Mm-hmm.
Chapter 4. Turns out I am salmon flavored.
We're ordering at this restaurant, and it begins with Percy riffing on not wanting to eat a grasshopper pizza.
Of course, Annabeth is concerned about sustainable proteins.
Annabeth knows really what's up. We get our takeout, and we're walking over to Hecate's house. We have its location on this card, but as you might expect for Hecate, it's difficult to actually see it, to pin it down. There's mist. There is confusion. We walk by it a few times. And we do eventually get this rich description of it, which is, I feel like, kind of pretty down the line what you would expect. Somewhere halfway between classical, vaguely gothic horror and Gramercy Park.
Which Rick notes is just an unnecessary playground for billionaires. Unclear why it's not just publicly accessible, doesn't make any sense, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Dare I say that's going to come back? I really feel, again, I have not finished the book, but I really feel like this idea of public access to space has been mentioned multiple times now.
In city planning.
I think it's also interesting, I guess because I just read Child of the Gods, but his fact when he says, maybe that's why I'll never be a billionaire. I keep thinking about that's why he'll never wants to be a god, and this association, I think, between gods and billionaires.
Well, we may not be doing the Flame of Western Civilization named anymore, but we certainly are still doing the gods equal capitalism.
Yes.
Once we find the spooky mansion of Hecate, Grover appears. This is such a sweet line. I would have thought he was going on a camping trip, but since Grover lives in nature, I guess this was how he geared up for a week in the city, exploring the great indoors. Indoors. There are many SpongeBob references in this book, as far as I'm concerned. I really can't tell if they're intentional or not. I would like to violate the death of the author and ask Rick if he intended all of these SpongeBob references. Grover shows up with all this camping gear, and Percy's like, wait a second. You picked that up in Central Park? Because Grover was like, I'm going to go to Central Park to get all these supplies. And Grover's like, yeah, rats. He collected all of this stuff by bartering and communicating with the New York City rats.
I'm surprised we haven't heard about this before. It makes a ton of sense. For him, for where he lives, for his abilities.
It's giving Cinderella, in my opinion.
Do you think Grover was sat at New York Mayor Eric Adams' press conference and was like, girl, it is not your city. It is, in fact, the rat city.
The rats do run this city. It's not, you know what? It's not Cinderella. It's Enchanted.
It is Enchanted.
It's that scene of Amy Adams with all of the pigeons and the rats.
Yes, it is. Yeah. It's exactly what it is.
Oh.
There's nothing wrong with reduce, reuse, recycle, but I do hope that we sanitize some of these things so we don't get the bubonic plague.
I really hope we do.
And it's time to knock on the door.
Oh, I love this scene.
Oh, yeah. This is a classic rule of threes, clownery, buffoonery, Riordan verse gag where the knocker on the door has 3 heads, like the cover of the book. One of us always speaks the truth, says the horse. One of us always lies, said the lion. I was about to say, wait, I know this riddle. Then the dog chimed in, and one of us always says something completely random. Rutabaga! The horse and the lion glanced at the dog.
I actually laughed out loud.
I did too.
That's a good bit. It plays on everything. It's the rule of threes.
And it continues.
Yes. They do the bit about the rule of threes 3 times.
Dude, said the horse. We talked about this, said the lion. Carburetor, said the dog.
We've seen this technique employed in many iconic works of art. The Lion King is what's immediately coming to mind for me.
Yes. The hyenas.
The 3 hyenas, one of whom is just doing stuff, just makes noises. And one of the other one's Whoopi Goldberg, you know?
I'm thinking of this specific image, which I don't know where it's from.
Oh, with the dragons? Yes!
Yeah.
Yeah, the 3 dragon heads.
Anyway, it turns out that all of this was a lie. The door opens without us actually engaging with the 3 heads in the door. And we meet Hecuba, the hellhound.
But not before Leo Valdez is mentioned.
Yes.
Which forces me to question, what is Leo Valdez's tea right now? Because the last time we saw him in the Blood of Olympus was in the epilogue where he was on Ogygia.
Yes.
Did he leave a note saying that he was not dead?
Yes. But it is still weird to use this in the present tense with my friend Leo Valdez as a tutor. Because even if he's alive, he's definitely, as you noted, he's not around.
He's not with us.
Yeah. And we're not also, like, the note is cryptic. It doesn't say, I'm alive. You know, it doesn't say, like, I have concocted a way to defeat this prophecy and not die.
But if anyone would understand, it's probably Percy, because he knows where Leo is, you know, in his heart.
Percy's the one who's actually been to Ogygia, too.
Exactly. Multiple references to Leo Valdez. I'm kind of feeling it's giving my friend who's dating my ex, and I really am trying to be cool about it. So I'm just going to talk about how they're my friend a lot. Anyway, let me know if anybody else thought that was weird, like the glossing over where Leo is right now. I think I need to see a chronological timeline as far as where October lines up with the Trials of Apollo calendar and when Leo arrives back in the Trials of Apollo at Camp Half-Blood.
We'll have to look into this. Yeah.
I mean, that could be before this, as far as I'm aware right now.
Well, okay, the beginning of Trials, they go to his house. So he's still in New York.
Trials takes place in Percy's senior year.
The first one, but then by the end of it, they're already in college, right?
Oh, yeah, they are. Okay. Yeah. Well, the thing is, Rick himself is like, don't read too far into the timeline. So I guess we should just not read too far into the timeline.
Okay.
Okay. We meet Hecuba.
Yes, Hecuba, who is named for the Queen of Troy during the Trojan War, and is a hellhound. She seems nice so far. She says Percy smells like salmon.
It's so funny.
Which leads Percy to be like, should I rethink Mrs. O'Leary and I's connection? Which makes me so sad for him. Like, what if this whole time you just smelled like salmon?
Oh, Percy.
He also is thinking about the fact that every monster thinks that he smells like seafood.
That's hilarious.
What does that mean?
Does it mean like all children of Poseidon just reek of the ocean?
Yeah, do you think Annabeth smells like wisdom and SAT scores?
Annabeth smells like a new book.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
Mm-hmm. And Grover smells like the rats of New York City. Currently.
Yeah.
As we enter into the house further, there's a lot of commentary on like a sensation I am very familiar with, which is when you're walking through someone's home who is so wealthy that it doesn't look like they actually live in their home. And you're like, is this a house or a museum? How are you possibly comfortable living this way?
Well, yeah.
Wait, also, the first mention, I think, it then comes back later, is Hecuba, when Grover translated, she says to ignore the door knockers. They haven't worked properly since the school closed down. And then Annabeth frowned and said school. Grover said there's some, could be mistranslations, like school, kennel, or pea spot, but there's the first gun.
Chekhov's old abandoned school that closed down.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll revisit. And then we have the return of Gale. Gale, I'm so sorry I forgot about you last week. That was entirely my fault. You are the most famous farting polecat in the history of literature.
Gale is an icon. Gale is the moment.
There was a really cute featurette on the virtual book event that was like a pre-filmed sketch sort of video of a bunch of human real life actors in sort of like thrown together Greek costumes doing like mockumentary style interviews to the camera about Gale. And it was like Gale was granted human form for one night only to participate in this interview about how she terrorized all these townspeople. It was very cute. So we could understand the history of who Gale is.
I love that for her.
There's a brief moment where Percy is questioning whether Grover's communication with Gale is through the farts.
Yesterday, I was sitting in a cafe all day reading this book, and there was people all around me, surrounding me, doing their tech jobs on their laptops, on like work from home days, and having like business phone calls. And I was laughing out loud at this middle grade book about fart communication.
Your life is just that much richer than theirs.
Then Hecate arrives.
Yes, in casual separates. She's wearing yoga pants and a gigantic t-shirt, but that's basically it. It's time for a tour. She does charge the money. 3 drachmas. And I would have been like, Percy, I'm like, oh, that's so funny. I would be really upset. I'm like, I'm doing you a favor. Why do I have to pay you? I know, she has the money. Damn. But chapter 5 is going to be a tour of the mansion. So we'll have that to look forward to. I have looked into the timeline. Sally is 7 months pregnant at the beginning in the first book of Trials of Apollo, where we A, meet Percy doing senior year in New York, and B, also at the end of the book, have the return of Leo Valdez. So that's like roughly at the same time as this, right? Because Sally is also like really pregnant. We don't get a number on the pregnancy.
So we're just going to assume this is post the return of Leo Valdez.
I think it's weird either way. If it's post the return, it is also weird for Percy to just be like, oh, my friend Leo Valdez, and not be like, parentheses, who reappeared from how we all thought he was dead a week ago.
That would be a Percy thing.
Yeah.
My friend Leo Valdez, who tutored me in Spanish last night after he got back from when we all thought that he was dead after sacrificing himself to save the world in a gigantic fiery explosion.
I don't know why they would think he would die in fire being a son of Hephaestus, though.
Because Hazel could sense that he was dead. That was the whole thing.
Yeah.
Or she couldn't sense him at all. Okay. Well, that is the end of our chapters for today. Sophia, what are you dressing up as for Halloween?
I mean, I've been deliberating about this for months, but I think I'm fully settled because he's coming back to it. I think I'm going to go as Zendaya from Challengers. As an adult, when she's sitting at the... exactly.
With the bob?
Yes! Gets the sunglasses.
And the sunglasses.
Are you going to be old Zendaya or young Zendaya?
No, old Zendaya with the bob. And she's like on the sidelines for the big match.
You're going to be I'll divorce you if you quit tennis.
Yes.
Yeah.
Amazing.
That's sick.
That's beautiful. And would you say you identify as the maiden, the mother, or the crone? These are our closing questions.
I was thinking about that this morning. I don't know why crone is just calling to me, but I feel it.
Many such cases. Yeah.
Many such cases. Welcome.
I think it's also because right now I'm like, I work at the Boys and Girls Club right now, so I work with a lot of kids, and nothing has made me feel older. Nothing has made me feel more ancient in my life.
That's great, though. You can be a youth correspondent for us.
What about you guys? What's your Halloween?
Oh, yeah. We can only answer this question for like 3 more weeks, so we might as well answer it. Carter, what's your Halloween plan?
I'm not totally decided yet. I think that the leading contender right now is that I'm going to do a paired costume as Wallace and Steven, the joint champions of the Hoenn region of the Pokemon games. often speculated by people to be romantically entangled, and nearly confirmed to be romantically entangled by the Pokemon Corporation in 2021. There was a avid fan debate about it. What about you, Erica?
I'm also going to go as two animated characters rumored to be romantically entangled with one of my coworkers. Alex was like, we should be Jamba and Pleakley. I'm obviously Jamba.
That's so cute. I would believe Alex doing Pleakley. That sounds delightful.
Yeah, so I got to work on that. Because I don't want to I have to give the illusion that I am like a tourist, but also
you need the eyes
an alien.
Yeah,
I need
head.
like the
That's
eyes.
the Jamba
I need to paint them. Yeah, we'll work it out. And the mustache.
Maybe a bald cap that's bluish purple.
Oh, yeah. The good part about being in a touring production of a musical is that if I need something, I can get it.
Definitely get it.
Yeah. If I need help with a wig, I can get help with a wig.
Jamba doesn't wear wigs, though.
But I can get a bald cap.
That's true. You can get a bald cap.
Yeah. And a mustache. A lace front mustache. All right.
Well, we'll see
on that note,
next week.
I love that.
Oh, wait. No. Sophia, plug your Substack.
Of course, my Substack. Analysis Paralysis, where I'm currently doing a deep dive into Annabeth Chase from the TV series. Please tune into that. Analysis Paralysis, all lowercase.
We will have that linked in our show notes. Thank you for joining us, Sophia, and we'll see y'all next week.
Thank you for having me.
Bye, y'all.